Bonjour, hello. I'm Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada.
That's a video plea by the Prime Minister and Canada's ambassador to the United States to Congress, basically saying, don't forget us. They are afraid of Donald Trump's promise of U.S. protectionism.
American and Canadian businesses work closely together to develop and sell our products to the world.
Now, the video was released on the day that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, Twitter threatened to charge a border tax to General Motors if they move the Chevy Cruze manufacturing plant to Mexico. GM relented. Then Ford decided against a new Mexican assembly plant, although they did say their decision was not directly linked to Trump's threat. The big question, will Canada be a target next? Between the protectionist rhetoric and Trump's battle with the intelligence agencies over the Russian interference in the U.S. election, what to make of the man who will be president in 12 days? To find out, I'm joined now by David Frum, the senior editor of The Atlantic magazine, and Roland Martin, the host of the daily political show TV1 Now. Gentlemen, Happy New Year. Good morning. David Frum, I'll start with you. Let me just begin with this issue of trade and the Twitter threats. Is Canada a target?
Canada can't help being a target, even if it's not directly targeted. Canada is a very outward-oriented economy. It depends on a healthy world trading system, not just a healthy bilateral relationship with the United States. So even if somehow Canada is exempted, if a Trump administration does damage to other global trading relationships, Canada will suffer.
Yeah, Roland, what do you make of all these, the Twitter threats to various companies about moving factories outside of the U.S.?
What we are looking at is a bully-in-chief, a child-in-chief who is willing to attack anybody, anywhere, who also wants no accountability whatsoever. You know, what is amazing is he'll tweet something then, and he is the leader of false news, the guy who tweets out fake information. He got it wrong this week when it came to General Motors, and he has no problem making any screw-ups. But here's the fundamental problem. This is what is scary to me. I'm sure it's scary to David, and I'm sure it's scary to millions of other Americans. His supporters do not care. When he said during the campaign, I can shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and my supporters would not care, that's the case. They do not care, and that is the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah, David, of course, outside of the U.S. here, we care, and we don't know what this border tax he talks about might look like. The Canadian ambassador to the U.S. said he believes that the Trump administration views maybe China and Mexico as the trade bad guys, as it were, but Canada is part of the trade good guys. What do you make of that?
Well, as I said, it doesn't matter because Canada also has important trading relationships with China. So if China is pushed into economic crisis of some kind, Canada will feel that, even if the U.S.-Canada border continues to flow. We live in a world of global supply chains. So you can't simply say, we're only slicing certain arteries in your body, other arteries will be fine, because the body depends on the flow of all of the arteries.
All right, let's talk about... Yeah, go ahead, Roland.
Evidence it's even worse than that, because remember, he might regard Canada as a friend today, and you might be an enemy in 3 or 4 hours. And so that's part of the problem here. Here's what we know right now. The only country that is safe from any attack from Donald Trump is Putin and Russia.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, this has been the most extraordinary thing. We're talking about trade. Let's just move to that. And David Frum, you know, you had the head of intelligence agencies today appearing before a Senate Armed Services Committee, all confirming that Russians interfered with the U.S. election. There's some kind of hack. You know, Trump met with intelligence officials. But I guess my question to you is, what have you made about Trump's continual positive tweets about Putin and basically discrediting U.S. intelligence agencies?
Well, he's challenging them, but from my point of view, I give credit to the intelligence agencies, and so do most people, partly because none of this rests on secret information. The evidence is all, the body's on the carpet. The blade is protruding from the shoulder blades, and the wallet is in Donald Trump's pocket. Now, we don't have the fingerprints on the knife. We don't know exactly how the wallet got from the corpse into Donald Trump's pocket, but the whole situation is very suggestive. That the Russians attacked a broad range of American email accounts, the Democratic National Committee, but many others as well. And that they've been doing this for a long time. Hundreds per year, by the way, military accounts, military families, military spouses. They've done this in Europe as well. The British have told us that they recorded these attempts in their election last summer. It's going on right now in Germany. So this is a standard method. And what they then do is weaponize the actual information extracted from the Democratic accounts and published by WikiLeaks, which has close ties to Russia. It was pretty boring information as election information goes, but it was weaponized by the Russian troll army and by Donald Trump himself. You know, a different person might have looked at this information and said, this is how politicians talk. There's no sign of any illegality and no sign really of anything wrong or unethical. There's some kind of rough elbows inside the Democratic Party, some favoritism for Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. That's sort of what you would expect to see. Hardly affects the general election. Donald Trump could have said, I'm not going to use this Russian-provided information, but he used it hard, continually, devastatingly, and he had to know where it came from.
Roland.
And in fact, there are some people who certainly believe that the Trump campaign, the Trump organization, were aware of these emails before they even got out and played a hand in this. And so you have all of this. But I want to give you an example. Imagine if David Frum was driving drunk and mowed down 2 children, and I said, you know what? I love that guy. He's wonderful. And then imagine David goes out the next day and shoots somebody, and I say, you know what, man, what's wrong with you guys? David's great. No. And then imagine David beats a woman in the middle of the street. Then imagine he does something. No. Follow me here. And here's the problem. At every turn, I go, he's a great guy. You're gonna go, does David have something on Roland? Because he won't say anything negative. This is the deal with Trump. You look at this, the entire campaign, nothing negative about Putin or Russia. Nothing. Now president-elect, nothing. Zero, zilch. The guy, he answered during the election about, when he was asked about Putin, he said, well, he kills journalists. He goes, well, so do we.
David, what is the deal with Trump's Twitter feed? You've worked in the White House. You understand comms. You know how meetings work. People are reading this Twitter account, which he tweets about Arnold Schwarzenegger's ratings on a reality television show, The Apprentice. He picks a fight with China. What are we to make of Donald Trump's Twitter feed?
It's beyond irresponsible. Look, a president's words are a president's actions. They're heard by the whole world. They are all weighted. Now, presidents are human beings, and they sometimes make slips. Barack Obama is an especially careful president, but even he makes slips about once a year. But the idea that you are, on a daily basis, emitting these unedited, unweighed, untested comments, which have huge impacts on national security, on financial markets, it's astonishing, and it's really dangerous.
Roland,
and in fact, the dangers have already arrived.
His supporters do not care, but he also understands the world we're living in terms of, he understands celebrity, he understands entertainment, he's speaking in 140 characters, easily digestible, and so he has mastered this. Those of us who love social media understand how do you build this loyal following. That's what he's done, and as David said, it is tremendously dangerous, but this is a 70-year-old guy who does not care. That's the worst thing in the world.
Okay, I got to leave it there. Roland Martin and David Frum. Roland, I don't know if you want to tell another anecdote about David Frum. I want to thank you both for joining us on Question Period. Oh, great to get your perspective. We are 12 days away from a Trump president.